Hey everyone, starting a brand new Bible study at our church this week, actually tonight, John 14 through 17 actually. So we're going through this whole long discourse of Jesus in John 14 to 17. That's Monday, Thursday night, the night that Jesus is betrayed, and he gives this long speech to his disciples, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff in there. So we're taking the whole summer really just walk through these 4 chapters at our congregation. And tonight we're starting with, of course, John 14. And I was reminded about a verse in John 14 that I think is a little bit misleading in your English translation. But when translated, I think a little bit more faithfully to the Greek, although maybe it's a little less understandable in the English right away, it actually teaches what Jesus is trying to get across to his disciples and to us. That verse, maybe you've heard of it, is often translated, "In my Father's house there are many rooms." And that Jesus says, "I am going there to prepare a place for you." And the assumption, I think, and I thought this for a long time too, is that Jesus is talking about heaven, and in heaven there are lots of rooms that God is preparing. So he's got like this McMansion, and all of us are getting our own little apartment in the McMansion, and Jesus is going to heaven, and he's going to be there for, however long the world lasts until we get there. And when we get there, he'll have made sure to, fluff the sheets and, clean the pillows or whatever. This is not what the verse is talking about for a number of reasons. First of all, the word that is translated house, is not necessarily house in the sense of 4 walls and a roof and that sort of thing. It's really just the dwelling place, right? So house can look like a lot of different things. It can look like, even in English we have different ideas of a house. A house doesn't just have to be, bricks and shingles, but it can be a tent, or it can be, a fort of some sort. So in God's dwelling place, there are many places. And the word there for rooms, it can be translated room, but it also is really just a place for, the word for place or staying is another way that it's translated. So in God's dwelling, there are many spots, you might say. There are many open seats, maybe you could even say, in God's dwelling. There are a lot of places that God has open for people to be in his presence, to be one with him, to be united with him. Not only does the text say that, but we understand this too from just the way we understand heaven, that the heaven that exists right now until Jesus comes back is not a place where we have our physical bodies. We are just spirit if we are in heaven with God. That is because our bodies are in the ground waiting for the resurrection of the dead on the last day when Jesus shows up. So, if Jesus is going to prepare a place for us in heaven, it would not be a physical room in a mansion of any sort like this, because we don't have a body to inhabit those rooms or those mansions. So he is talking about just spots or seats or opportunities to be there, maybe even as another way you could say it. And this also makes sense once you understand in the context what Jesus is talking about when he says that I go there to prepare a place for you. Where is there? I think oftentimes people think there is heaven, but in the context, Jesus has been very clearly talking about there being the cross. He is going there. He's going away. In fact, the disciples are asking, where are you going? Where are you going? And he says, you can't come where I'm going. Although you will follow later, he says to Peter, right? And Peter was crucified just like Jesus was, except Peter was crucified upside down out of respect for his Savior. He didn't want him to be crucified like Jesus was crucified. So Jesus is saying, there are many spots in God's family, in God's dwelling, and I am going to the cross in order to make it possible for you to be part of God's family. Now, it is not untrue that at the resurrection of the dead, when God creates a new heaven and a new earth, we will have places to physically dwell with God. But that is not what John 14 is talking about. It is very clearly talking about Jesus saying, I am going to go to the cross for you so that you can have salvation, so you can have a right relationship with God. If you've never heard that before, I'm sorry, but you should come to Bible study. All these Wednesdays of summer, we're going to be doing this either in person at our ministry center or on Facebook Live, too, through our congregation's Facebook page. I'm the pastor at Cross of Life Lutheran Church in Mississauga, Ontario, so you can look us up if if you want to watch those Facebook Live devotions. A lot of really interesting stuff that Jesus talks about. When he talks about peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you. There is a missing word in that sentence. Give, that he talks about, like, my peace I leave with you and give to you. He's not just saying that I am going to give you the feeling of peace. He's actually talking specifically about forgiveness, and that's also in the Greek text. When Jesus talks about how to keep his commands, if you don't understand the Greek text, you might think that what he's talking about are works, doing good works. But what he's really talking about are his words. That he says the people who love him are the ones who value his words, which is crazy in our culture that says, deeds, not creeds, or it doesn't really matter about doctrine. Doctrine divides, but love unites. Jesus says no. Words unite. The truth about my words is what unites us. So all of that is packed in just to John 14. So you have 3 more chapters after that. So I highly encourage that you would come to our Bible studies the next couple weeks through the summer. If you can't be here physically in Canada, you can come on Facebook Live and you'll be able to enjoy that as well. Like, subscribe, comment. That's what every YouTuber says at the end of his video, right?